Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this marvellous, marvellous Monday. That's it. It's Monday. It's marvellous. You're marvellous. You're looking marvellous. And we're going to get straight in to the meat and potatoes as we leave one kind of tragic case where someone goes missing and comes to harm. We go back. That's it. Back Shadrach to another case of a missing child this time. This is a missing child who is still missing, vanished without a trace. And we haven't talked about it for a while because there's not a massive amount happening in this case, which is an absolute travesty. But there are still people who are trying to get to the bottom of what happened. And, they're still investigating, they're still watching stuff, they're still angry. People get angry because you see how certain people behave, and some of us feel that certain people should behave in a certain way, and when they start behaving in a way that doesn't quite align with how we feel they should be, then we get pissed off about it. And some people don't like that. Some people who are on the same wavelength will get on board with it. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about, in this case, Bullhorn Betty, in fact. Look, I don't always see eye to eye with Bullhorn Betty. I don't. I don't agree with some of the things she says. I don't believe or agree with some of the things that she does. But ultimately, whether you love or hate Bullhorn Betty is someone who is like a dog with a bone. And that is that when she sees something she's not happy with, she will fight hammer and nail to try and get to the bottom of why things aren't how she feels they should be. You can't take that away from her, like I say, love her or hate her. And it seems that she has well and truly pissed off the Proudfoot as we look at this article that I woke up to this morning. So, bizarre update in case of missing Tennessee teen Sebastian Rogers as mother makes frightening claims against a YouTuber. Which YouTuber is that? Yes, the aforementioned Bullhorn Betty. And here we see a picture of Bullhorn Betty in her "Silence is an Answer To" t-shirt, which in fact I completely agree with the slogan on that t-shirt. And you will have heard me say in many of the situations, silence can speak absolute volumes. Look at the Idaho 4 case, for instance, and the fact that Latah County, Moscow, Idaho, has fallen deathly silent around the Idaho 4 case, and I feel that does indeed speak volumes. But this is the young man who is missing, Sebastian Rogers in the inset there, and there is Chris Proudfoot, his stepfather, and mum there, Katie Proudfoot. So it says the mother of autistic teenager who vanished without a trace, and it was literally without a trace, from her Tennessee home has accused a YouTube sleuth from threatening her safety. Angela Griffin, known to followers as Bullhorn Betty, has been investigating the baffling disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, 15, who was reported missing from the home in Hendersonville on February the 26th. Sebastian's mother, Katie Proudfoot, has secured a temporary order of protection against Griffin, preventing her from coming within 100 feet of her home. She threatens us and posts live while driving by our home, Proudfoot said. She is dangerous and is threatening my and my family's safety and telling her followers to help and do the same. And there's some pictures here, and there is a clip. I'm not going to play this clip. If you want to go and see what is being said, head over to Bullhorn Betty's videos and go and watch what she is indeed saying about the case. Thousands of police and volunteers helped in the search of Sebastian after he vanished in the middle of night nearly 6 months ago. He was last seen by his mum going up to bed after he had taken out the trash the night before he vanished. His mother has claimed that she heard a noise coming from his bedroom that night. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise and I was like, I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep. 6 o'clock, I went in to wake him up for the school morning, and that's when he wasn't there. Bit strange that if she heard noises and felt that he should be asleep but wasn't asleep, why she didn't go in there earlier and just check that everything was okay. Again, this is where you go into the realms of what people do versus what you would do, and I would have certainly been in that room earlier had that have been me. But look, there's no handbook on parenting. There was sort of words around this case saying that Katie was in fact on a phone call that night to Chris Proudfoot, and they are on the phone for approximately 3 hours. I did question whether this was something that happened on the regular, that they would regularly be on the phone together for 3 hours. I love my partner to absolute pieces. She's an absolute diamond. But would I be on the phone to her for 3 hours? Not fucking likely. Let me know down below if you're a regular 3-hour caller with your loved one or significant other. But yeah, not me. So it says in March, airy footage from the back of the house from which Sebastian disappeared was released, revealing 2 light sources far away and another one closer to the house. There's been a lot of speculation over this, whether it was a rubbish truck, whether it was people with torches, so on and so forth. But I don't think it's been 100% determined exactly what these lights were. But it just seems a little bit odd that on this night, the 3-hour phone call, weird, strange lights outside the property. We've seen other pieces of footage as well. One of them seemingly trying to portray what appeared to be some sort of struggle. And then this young lad goes missing, vanishes without a trace. Officials have still not been able to determine if one of the light sources was Sebastian, but they believe the footage suggests a second person was outside the house that night. The case attracted nationwide interest and an army of true crime internet sleuths offering their theories on the disappearance, including Griffin, who has nearly 200,000 followers online. Has she? I've got to check this out. Let's have a look. I haven't been over to her channel for a while. I'm guessing she has other channels, perhaps. Let's have a look. Maybe she has other things, because her YouTube channel is 34.2 thousand followers. So I'm not sure where they get the other figure. Perhaps there's other social media platforms. I don't follow her enough to know. I just saw that figure then and was like, that seems a little bit like that's been inflated somewhat. Some county sheriff's office says there is no evidence of foul play and that the case remains open, but Griffin claims Sebastian's parents are not telling the truth about his disappearance. That is an opinion. She's entitled to an opinion. Do I think that they're telling the truth? Do I fuckers like? I certainly don't. When a child in the situation that we've seen, you know what I'm like, and it's a room splitter. I believe that parents they're the people who hold the key to their child's safety. Sebastian was autistic, and he posed a flight risk. We've heard he'd gone out, he'd hidden under the car and stuff like that previously, and yeah, it was their responsibility to keep him safe, and ultimately he has vanished off the face of the planet, which seems to be a common occurrence in the likes of Tennessee. We saw Michael Vaughn in Idaho, and we saw Summer Wells in Tennessee. She vanished again without a trace. Yes, that's for another video. I've touched on it. This was a photo that cropped up that this kid looked exactly like Sebastian, but it was deemed that was in fact not, even though Sebastian's own father felt that was him in this photo. He was sure that was Sebastian. The boy's father thought that was his son, even though within a very short time of this going up, his stepfather said, no, it's not him. Not him. And then he removed that comment after he was challenged online. Everyone is noticing their lack of caring for Sebastian, and they're more concerned about them and their reputation to the point that they are willing to lie under oath, she said in a video on Friday. I'm not going to be a victim of their criminal enterprise. They already look horrible as it is, but to intentionally make themselves look even more guilty than they were, they're exuding problematic behavior. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, which I don't have a lot of good things to say about TBI. Again, if you follow the Summer Wells case, you'll understand why I perhaps feel that way. But TBI has said more than 2,000 square miles have been searched around the home on foot, and there have been aerial searches with a helicopter, drones, and a fixed-wing plane. But the only possible sighting has been in a mysterious picture which was taken by a woman at the rest stop near the visitor center in the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. It shows a man who very strongly resembles Sebastian. The woman later turned the picture into the TBI, and her friend posted the picture online. Days after the photograph began circling social media, Seth Rogers, the teen's biological father, told News Nation that he believes it is his son and he is across state lines. He is also hopeful that the FBI would intervene on the case. My private investigator has spoken to the person who took the video and photo, and I would surely hope that the FBI would take the lead. Believe that is my son, and he is across state lines. I would really, truly appreciate if the FBI did take the lead, Seth said. He also told the channel that he has no idea where Sebastian could be living or who with in North Carolina, especially since it is a 6-hour drive from his Tennessee home. He told News Nation in June that finding his son doesn't feel like a shared goal with Sebastian's mother and stepfather, Chris Proudfoot. There has been no contact between me and the Proudfoots. He added, it's like I'm the only one that misses my son. And this is a picture of biological father there. But this is an ongoing thing. You know, there's another picture of Sebastian there. But, yeah, so there's a lot going on. It goes on to say the Sumner County Courthouse hearing on August 8th will decide whether to extend the Proudfoot's protection order. Griffin, who was previously posted from a Florida home on cases including Idaho murder suspect Brian Koberger and the disappearance of Missouri student Riley Gaines, insists she has not harassed Sebastian's family. I have never laid eyes on this woman in the flesh. I have never reached out to her by phone, email, or text messages. I've never even responded to any of her Facebook posts. I haven't talked to this lady, she told WHJL.com. It's not about Seth Rogers, Katie Proudfoot, and Christopher Proudfoot. It's about where Sebastian Rogers is and how we can bring him home. And what I will say is this. It gets when you're doing what, especially Bullhorn Betty, even Bullhorn Betty, and again, this is coming from a place of, I don't always agree with the woman. I don't particularly like some of the things that she says, some of the things she does. We're very, very different people. But what she does represent is how a lot of people in the community, in the public, feel when people go missing, especially when it's children, and you are left in this situation where you feel, how did this child go missing when you were supposed to be taking care of them? And when, again, like I said at the beginning of this video, when they don't behave in a way that you would expect a parent of a missing child to behave, you feel a certain way about it, and you start to kind of side-eye them as if to say, why are you behaving in that way? And when law enforcement haven't got any answers, they don't seem to be getting any answers. And when you've seen this exact kind of business, because TBI at the end of the day is a business, they work on funding, they work on supplying a service, they're a business. When you see that business fail elsewhere as well, you kind of think, this is where this is going to head, and I ain't happy about it. And you feel that you have an obligation to do your bit to try and make out, or try to make sure that things don't end up the same way as you've watched other cases end. And it is what it is. People, you can't stop human nature. You can't stop people feeling pissed off, upset in these sort of situations. There is a line, and you have to stick within that line, the realms of the law. So, you know, you have to be careful, but you can't stop people feeling a certain way. And when things ain't right, they just ain't right. And in this case, things ain't right. Let me know how you feel, and I'll catch you all in a little while when I go back over to Prayer to Lose, as we're talking about Madeleine McCann. Tomorrow, it's riot day. Perhaps a live. Let me know down below if you want a live. Until then, I'm off. See you later.